Want to win money on sports? With Underdog, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash just by picking higher or lower on your favorite players' stats. Millions of fans have won billions of dollars on Underdog. Will you be next? Download the Underdog app and sign up to get a free pick with your first cash entry up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hashtag no music, no intro. Another episode of the Saints Block Party podcast coming at you. We are live streaming to YouTube. We are probably might be listening to this on your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on any of your your audio podcasts, softwares, apps, please like and subscribe as well. Super Bowl yesterday. We wanted to have this Super Bowl reaction episode. I had a inkling to do this episode last night, but Ryan was drunk and I just kind of wanted to enjoy Super Bowl Sunday and not really podcast. Yep. But I wanted to talk about the Super Bowl because if you listen to the show, it's hard, because we anticipate starting a chapter for the Saints that is away from Sean Payton for the first time in a very long time. And I'm working on it, bro. If you listen to our podcast we did, our Patreon only podcast we did on Will Johnson, Michigan cornerback, where we broke down Will Johnson and the possibility of him being drafted by the Saints. I'm still working through my fandom right now. Still, it's still a work in progress. Everything that came out from our dude Ramon Vargas's of the Guardian story of the Saints' tangential involvement with the Catholic Church child molestation scandal. It's still something that I just not. I don't know. Like, even with the potential pending news with the Kellen Moore and all that, man, I'm just like, it is not hitting like it would have hit. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I'm still something I'm working through, but still trying to shake back from it. I don't know if I'm going to shake back from it. I don't know. Maybe that is a good thing with my fandom if I'm not going to shake back from it. But
exactly.
Sean Payton always liked to talk about the playoffs and the Super Bowl and the teams, right? And watching that game, it was simple as day. That game reminded me very much of the Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl, except the Chiefs were not injured for the most part in terms of on the offensive line. The Chiefs' offensive line had been an issue for the entire season. Yep. And the Eagles' defensive line was a problem the entire season, which was funny because when they got to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, the Chiefs' defensive line was like nowhere to be found. Like they had no pass rush. The Eagles. I apologize. Yeah. The Eagles had no pass rush whatsoever. And this was just the simple like game was won in the trenches. Yep. It gets so boring to hear it and talking about it, but that's where football is. Football is not a very complex game. It is a very rudimentary game when it's really broken down fundamentally. And watching that game, the Eagles had the better offensive line. They had the better defensive line.
Period.
That was it. That was the story of the game. Like, point blank, period.
Point blank, period.
But it's funny because if you look at, and I didn't have the time to really go in and look at the numbers of how many picks that the Eagles have allocated to defensive line, offensive line, and secondary compared to the Saints. But I would be willing to bet that the picks are probably around the same amount because both teams have allocated a shit ton of picks to those premium positions. The biggest difference, though, is that the Eagles have had a huge amount of success in terms of their evaluation and their college scouting, or even you could maybe even say in their pro scouting, and the Saints have not. They just haven't. Earlier in the day, they did when they were hitting on Jari Evans later in the draft. They were hitting on Carl Nix later in the draft. Those days are long gone. Those days don't exist anymore. They don't know what happened to them. Those days don't exist. So that I wanted to just talk, just look at it just from just get it. Even if you could just, I focus on the Eagles. I could have talked about the Chiefs too, and I didn't when I was doing this little exercise before we start recording. But even the Chiefs, right? They have Creed Humphrey. They got Trey Smith. Creed Humphrey was a second round pick. Trey Smith was a fifth round pick. Like Joe Tooney was a big free agent pickup from the Patriots. So that's where they built their offensive line, and it's funny because they built that offensive line right after that Bucs Super Bowl. Those three investments came right after that Bucs Super Bowl.
Yep, it's crazy. But the thing is, I think I put it in the Discord earlier. I was putting in like how many picks per position the Eagles use for each position since 2015. But I gotta find those numbers again. But it's interesting, man. Like just the way the Eagles have been built, they have done what the Saints have wanted to do.
There it is,
and preached on doing, but the Eagles actually did it like right. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is like the Eagles typically have more picks than the Saints. Period. You know what I'm saying? Because the Eagles tend to be the one the Saints go to to move up and give resources to.
Hello.
Wow. That's always interesting. And plus, man, they just always seem, not always, sometimes they'll have a miss here and there, but they just seem to fall into the right guy and have the right vision. Even if you look at guys like Nolan Smith, who was a good football player, but coming from that Georgia defense, people question his production. He had some off the field stuff.
Did he?
I think he had some kind of off the field stuff that kind of made him drop. I could be wrong, but I just remember something in the background. Could be tripping.
I think his was just he was just those classic. He was a classic tweener, bro. Like you didn't know he was. It's funny because Nolan Smith, and I think even if the Prospect, the week episode we did on Mikael Williams, I said Mikael Williams kind of reminds me a lot of Nolan Smith.
It was just like that because it was like, ooh, you see all the athleticism, you see the explosiveness, da-da-da-da-da. Where's the production? It was the same thing. And here he just falls to the Eagles. I don't even remember what the pick 30. You know what I'm saying?
Look at this. So I tweeted this. A couple of minutes, like maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes before we started recording. Look at this. I'm going to add this caveat. Not saying that the Saints would have known how to use him. DA would have fucked up Nolan Smith just like what he fucked up Jack Baum, bro.
He would have had that man playing weak side linebacker or something, bro. Covering tight ends.
Round 1, pick 30, 2023. Right after Brian Bresee.
Yeah.
They just... But these, like, the line that was getting after Patrick Mahomes, winning their matchups, like, continually just obliterating that Chiefs offensive line. Milton Williams I have been on the Milton Williams train for months, Ryan. He's going to be a free agent. He's the type of guy that's going to make a lot of money in free agency.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of money in free agency. He may be out of the Saints price range in terms of
Right.
what they can afford.
Yeah.
Who was the reminds me of the other Eagles player that the Niners signed. Blanking on his name. He was a defensive tackle too. I'm blanking on his name. You know what I'm thinking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I am completely blanking on his name. Just kind of like the up and comer and just the just interior, and the Niners signed him anyway. Milton Williams is going to make a lot of money in free agency. Jordan Davis, honestly, has been like a draft bust for the Eagles, but even got had some sacks in the playoffs, had some sacks in the Super Bowl.
He got better this year. He really did get better this year, but yeah, he was like one of the few misses until recently. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what I was doing. That must have put
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. Completely a terrible typo, y'all.
People that's listening, we have a graphic up.
Sorry.
With the defensive line for the Saints and the defensive line for the Eagles. So we're just reading through that.
Jalen Carter. I had to put the via the Saints because that they got that pick via the Saints in terms of whether they drafted Jalen Carter round 1, pick 9. No, bro, they got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the same draft, Ryan.
Same draft, bro. Same draft.
Josh Sweat, round 4. I didn't realize that the Eagles even drafted Josh Sweat. Round 4, 2018 draft, round 4, pick 130. Bryce Huff was an undrafted free agent that started with the Jets, and then the Eagles signed him in free agency, and then he's been on IR, so he wasn't even active in the Super Bowl. And then if you just go and if you're listening to this, you're probably a Saints fan, so you know what the Saints have done in terms of drafting and scouting in terms of edge players. But Cam Jordan, 2011, like their last true hit in terms of a drafted edge rusher.
Been trying to find him help since.
We're going on 14 years, Ryan. 14 years, bro. Brian Bresee, defensive tackle, very, still feel like the amount of slander he gets is a little maybe unwarranted, but part of me understands it because he still is such a liability in the run defense. Yeah. And you're a defensive tackle,
and inconsistent. Put it like this: you can't go into a game and be like, "Ooh, Brian Bresee gonna eat today." You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. Like he could eat, he could not. You just don't know.
He could not.
You know what I'm saying?
2 firsts, Marcus Davenport. We know the story. Round 1, 2 firsts for a reason. 2018, Peyton Turner. Who was a free agent, did not get his 5th-year option picked up, but the Saints do kind of need to re-sign him because they don't have any depth. They don't have any depth across the defensive line. Raul Wood, pick 28, 2000.
Can you imagine though if Peyton Turner play a little hardball? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to come to the Saints.
He said, "What? D'Amico Ryans and he went to the University of Houston. He said maybe D'Amico can give me cook up a six sack season, bro. So,
man, I need some coaching, man."
Carl Granderson, an undrafted free agent who's been good, bro. Considering a gem that they found, but he is called Big Creep for a reason. Chase Young, a top 2 pick in the draft of 2020. He was gotten in free agency because he had literally a neck issue that no other NFL team doctor cleared him. I still feel like he's going because of his age, because of his whatever, he's going to price himself out of the I don't feel like the Saints should invest any long-term money into Chase Young. That's just where I stand on the issue. And then Isaiah Foskey, these are the picks you can't miss on. You can't miss on picks like this, bro. Round 2, pick 40. That's a premium. That's a premium draft pick, in just a complete whiff, bro. A complete whiff.
Complete whiff, man.
Sorry. So if people were in the chat, I could not see anything that you were saying because of that graphic. What's up? Mark said a big reason the the Eagles drafts have succeeded as being on the same page across the board. The Saints have different perspective on needs, seem to work on their detriment quite a bit. To a degree. Hold on. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Our dude Louisiana said that he has the same baller blocking shirt, but in black. Wayne said, "Man, if only our picks worked out." I feel like all NFL teams can say the same thing. But it's just one of those things that just like, particularly why I'm bringing this point up, and I'm not bringing it up just like, oh, the Saints have missed on their picks. Like a lot of teams miss on their draft picks.
Yeah.
It is, but it's very specific in terms of the amount of resources the Saints have invested into O-line, D-line, and secondary. Because the Eagles have invested almost across the board, I would lean to guess the same amount of picks into the same positions, and the results have been drastically different.
And one thing the Eagles do that I like and I respect is they keep going back to the well. Like even coming off the last Super Bowl where they had like a really good they led the league in sacks. There was great defensive line. They went right back to drafting defensive linemen. Like they go good on good on good. And that's what allows them to lose players like Milton Williams. Because Milton Williams going to get paid. They're like, all right, keep it moving. We're going to slide somebody else in there. They probably draft somebody this year.
Yep.
And probably got somebody in the lineup that'll, fill in it. So they keep going back to the well, good on good. And the fact that they maneuver the draft so well, you never feel like it's costing them somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Where the Saints usually have so little picks, we kind of like, ooh, man, but we need this. We need a wide receiver. We need a tight end.
They got holes everywhere, bro.
Holes everywhere, bro. So it's just a night and day situation.
And not the good term, not when the L's missing, when you're like, oh, I got, no, not that. Holes everywhere.
Just make me think of that. What was it, the 2020 draft or the 2021 where it was like, man, we got
2020.
Our roster 2020, bro. Man, we don't even need all these picks. How are you going to even make the team?
It was 2020, bro. That was the Zach Bond draft. That was Zach Bond, Tommy Stevens, Will Reese. That was that draft. Doc54 said we got 58 concurrent viewers in the chat. Appreciate y'all in the watching the live stream. What are the chances the new staff can actually get something out of Foskey and Turner? Getting production out of those guys beyond special teams would be a miracle. Well, Peyton Turner is a free agent, so we'll even see if he's back. And Foskey,
I get this question a lot too. Like, is Foskey a Zach Bond type? Was he being like not coached right and stuff like that? I don't get that feeling. At all.
Again, Zach Bond literally showed us in a game situation that he could beat Penei Sewell for a sack in a football game. One of the best right tackle in football. Zach Bond did that in a Saints uniform, and then he looked at the camera and did the Jordan shrug. Zach Bond, there were flashes that there were flashes that Caden Ellis showed.
Exactly.
There's flashes that Nemphis Sewell showed in the last two games. We have not seen anything from Isaiah Foskey.
Not one flash.
Not training camp. Not preseason. Nothing. Like it is. Like you could honestly say, like it's to the point like Isaiah Foskey, Stanley Jean-Baptiste in terms of worst second round pick. It is that close right now.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yes. Foskey. And so we'll see. I don't know. Corby 91. If I'm Kellen, I need guarantees. One of which is Carr is gone, and I need some standing. And when it comes to the cap situation, we'll get to the that later. We have an Eagles fan in here say, "Why did y'all let Bond get out of the building?" We're picking ninth. We're picking ninth overall in the draft. I mean, we're like that showed. I mean, you have Jalen Carter and CD Deuce. Thanks to us. You should be saying, "Hey guys, thank you."
Thank you so much.
Can you show us some appreciation when you want to come in our chat asking us how we got Zach Bond in the building? How about you give us show us some goddamn appreciation, motherfucker? We built your defense for you. How about you write Mickey Loomis a goddamn thank you, Mickey Loomis, co-GM of the Eagles, please? Like,
Mickey's doing a better GM job for y'all than he is us. Shit. Damn.
Does Mickey get a ring? Does Mickey get a ring? Because Mickey got to be on the goddamn parade, nigga. Mickey got to be on the parade.
Funny as hell, bro.
Could you imagine Howie, bro? Calling Mickey bro, on Friday morning. Hey, Mickey, you want to fly the private jet for the parade, bro? You got Zach Bond, City Deuce, Ian Book.
Y'all all ride the same float.
Come on, we got Jalen Carter because of y'all, because of that trade.
Even got Ian Book on that bill. Ian Book.
We got a shirt and a hat waiting for you, Mickey. Just come on, hop on, brother. Regine Lewis said, to be fair, the Saints drafting true impact defensive gets harder outside of the top 10 to top 15. If you look at the cluster of ends around Peyton Turner, all busts are very mid. I mean, true, but like the Eagles also drafted Nolan Smith Jr. at pick 30 overall. Like,
no, but like I hear what they're saying. Like if you go look at the Peyton Turner draft,
that draft was like,
yeah, it's just not a good draft overall. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like that first round, even if you look at some of the second round in that area, there's not much difference. I don't care. Like you missed. You went and got. I mean, at the time, it wasn't even like at the time, like it was like, ooh, they got one there and it didn't work out. It was like, who? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, no, do better. Do better.
Let's switch over to the offensive line because this is even like a bigger thing. And again, I focused on the Eagles. I could have done the same thing with the Chiefs a bit with this, but this is the offensive line. So this is something that's been on my radar for quite a bit of how many resources that the Saints have pumped into their offensive line. If you're listening on a podcast, there's a graphic up, just comparison of how the Saints and Eagles have built their offensive line. And I know people are going to say like, oh, well, why are you picking on the Saints? They have a bad offense. It's just to illustrate. Like the Saints have invested a plethora, and it's just to show like how teams are built and how the Eagles have built themselves to being, essentially they went to the Super Bowl twice in 3 years? Am I tripping? Is it 3 years? Yeah. 3 years. So Saints, they drafted Fuaga last year, pick 14, first round. Great, good ass pick. Offensive left tackle, which is also crazy because they were one pick away from drafting maybe like a generational tight end prospect. Left guard has been a revolving door. Lucas Patrick, Nick Salaverde. No idea who's going to be left guard next year. Eric McCoy, center. I didn't put the years where they were drafted. Round 2. So that was in 2019 because that was after the Davenport trade. Round 2, pick 48. Cesar Reese. Oh boy. Round 1, pick 24th overall pick in the draft. That would have been the 2020 draft. Funny thing, that pick would have been and was going to be Jonathan Taylor, but thanks to Sean Payton, he was pounding the table for Cesar Reese because he couldn't stand Larry Warford and wanted him going in the worst way. So that's what led to Reese being drafted. And then the infamous Trevor Penning pick in the 2022 draft, 19th overall, also kind of played a factor. That pick, and I know people was thinking that it was Olave. If you listen to the Saints believe that the Penning pick at 19 led to the Jalen Carter selection that the Eagles got 9th overall in 2023.
Yep.
Eagles offensive line, ungodly. They didn't get anything in the run game last night in the Super Bowl. That Spags was not going to let that happen. But in terms of the besides some exotic blitzes and pressures that got there from time to time, Jalen had time passing and what have you. Left tackle, Jordan Mailata, just an insane story. Round 7 pick, pick 233.
I didn't know he went in round 7. Damn.
Yeah, he was one of like the international players, like the international player.
Oh yeah.
Just insane scouting, bro. Just insane scouting. Landon Dickerson, round 2, pick 37 in round 2. Like that, and I'm talking O-line, but these are like the Eagles are drafting players round 2, pick 37, and we're like the Saints are drafting players at round 2, pick 40, Foskey. Like that's a monumental difference in terms of franchise altering picks. Their center, Cam Jurgens, round 2, pick 51. Mekhi Becton, who was really tied to the Saints when he got cut from the Jets. The Eagles took a chance on him. Tackle, he was drafted round 1, pick 11. Did not work out in the Jets for injuries, weight issues. Just got torn to shreds for the Jets meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Just torn to shreds. So him winning that Super Bowl last night, you could see the emotions he had for him. The Eagles took a chance on him, say, "Hey, bro, we're going to kick you to guard. Don't worry about tackle. We think you'd be a great guard." He had in the run game has been a stud guard for them in terms of the run scheme. He's a free agent. Him and Milton, I keep been saying if that Kellen Moore connection, him, Mekhi Becton, and Milton Williams. If I'm Kellen Moore, I'm getting with Kai. I'm getting with Mickey. I'm saying I want these two guys. I don't care. However you got, I don't care. If I'm coming as your head coach, you sought me out. You sought me out. I'm telling you what I need. These are the ingredients I need. Don't tell me how much. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't care about the cap. Figure it out. I need Mekhi Becton. I need him to be my guard. I'm going to put him at left guard. I'm going to put him next to Fuaga. And I need Milton Williams to be right next to Breesy. So I need some building blocks, right? And then Lane Johnson, who's been in the league. You forget how long Lane Johnson's been in the league, bro.
Jesus.
Round 1, 4th overall pick in the draft, and their offensive line is the best offensive line in football. The best. Undoubtedly.
I mean, that's just pretty much year after year, too. They always among the best.
Top 3, top 5, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see like the difference in terms of just the picks and just how shout out to Regine Lewis with the $10 or super chat. I forgot to say that.
Hey, thank you, Regine.
Apologize about that. And just how something needs to, and I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like part of it too, it's a scouting thing. I don't like in terms of how Jeff Ireland is stacking the board and something. And Jeff Ireland's gonna be like, bro, I don't know. Like in 2020, he's like, I wanted Jonathan Taylor. Like he was the top rated player, and Sean banged the table for. In 2020, 23, I didn't. I wanted Brian Branch and not Isaiah Foskey and Mickey Loomis pounded the table for him. But then my question is like, not so much a player with Reese, but like a player with Foskey. He's showing that he should not have been in that cloud. Like he's not even like a playable NFL player.
Right. That was a miss. That was a misevaluation.
Completely. So it's just something, and I don't know if I'm just fascinated to know if there's going to be changes with Kellen Moore. He's going to take some people from the Cowboys. He's going to take some people from the Chargers, some scouts from the Chargers, from the Cowboys, from the Eagles to revamp how things have been done scouting-wise with the Saints. Because even though Sean Payton left 2022, the data in terms of that athletic profile, the project that me and Jay do for the draft literally hasn't really changed that much. Like you thought it has not changed that much. Like the players that when we match them has literally almost every player that we did for that project last year were matches except for Boyd and Rattler. Everyone else matched identically that they drafted, and they were on the list and they drafted them. So that has not changed. Something has to change. Something got to change.
No question. And look, I mean, the Eagles, they went to work on their scouting staff, man. They brought in a couple of years ago. They brought in a lot of Ravens people. Howie brought in a lot of Ravens people on the scouting end to really help out with that stuff. They do a good blend of like analytics and like old school scouting techniques, and they just kind of balance that out. So I think they got it figured out, man. They figured out their motto and their approach to doing it. They operate as trench warfare. Like, you figure out the trenches, and it's not that they don't address other positions. They draft wide receiver a ton. They draft DBs more than anything. But they truly believe in the trenches. And if the Saints want to be like that, they need to self-evaluate. And you got to ask those questions. Where did we go wrong with Foskey? Where did we go wrong with Peyton Turner? Where did we go wrong? You have to go look at your process, how you got to these decisions, and then ask these questions. Why, instead of just saying, oh, it's the draft, it's a flip of a coin, you never know. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't approach things like that, running an organization like that. You got to constantly self-evaluate and question if you're doing things right. Are you handling your business the correct way? And obviously the Saints have not, on multiple reasons.
And it goes, it becomes like this cycle that I feel like we talked about numerous times, because there have been players that they have drafted, C.D. Deuce, Zach Bond, Trey Hendrickson, Caden Ellis, that they invested, they drafted, they developed, and now they're playing and just showing out for other teams, and they didn't retain for whatever reason. So it's like two flaws. It's either like you did the right thing and your evaluation was spot on, and that player is everything you envisioned and more, but now they're not playing for you because C.D. Deuce talked to the head coach in a mean way, or Mickey Loomis said that Zach Bond wanted more playing time and the system didn't fit him. Then that means the system was broken.
Yeah, something wrong with the system.
The system, bro. Man had like 2 forced fumbles in the playoffs and had an interception in the Super Bowl and was a Defensive Player of the Year finalist and was first team All-Pro. Zach Bond seemed to be perfectly fine. It seems like the system was broken.
Meanwhile, Foskey is taking up a roster spot. Who's done nothing? Nothing.
What has Pete Warner done?
Hello?
Anyway, let me catch up on these shots. Richard Horner Jr. said, I came on YouTube to watch Genty highlights, but saw you guys were live and chose you instead. Love you guys and what you do. Great content. Appreciate you. Much love.
Appreciate you, bro.
Joseph Peters said, Fuaga and Becton would be nasty in the run game. Nasty, bro. Nasty. I like that left side, like
with
Fuaga, Becton, and a healthy McCoy. Finally, you get Genty and AK. Just I see the vision. I see the vision. What's super exciting about Kellen, as he's going to bring in a dog for his O-line coach. I knew everything I needed to know about Kellen Moore when he was trying to bring in Clayton Adams for his OC. That told me everything I need to know. I was like, oh, we coming with he want that umph. You want that that jagged edge, and Ashanti put a little umph in it. Mark said, I don't want our O-line to be the equivalent of to the levees during Katrina. I need the Berlin Wall, Adam. He want the big guys. Jake said, does Kirby show up with anyone from Mizzou? I don't know. I don't even know if Kirby's coming with Kellen. A lot of people have kind of tied them together. The offensive, his brother, Kirby Moore, offensive coordinator of Missouri. Luther Burton III. I don't know. I have no idea. Louisiana, it'll be interesting what he does off O-line wise. Very much so. Let's see. RG Lewis. I think Kellen needs to bring high quality line coaches. Yes, he does. Joshua Judah 504 Olave is promising, but he needs to toughen up. Too light in the ass. I mean, that's a tired trope. I'm tired of it. Giovanni Martinez, you guys bring up valid points, but this GM lacks accountability, and we can't get out of his own way. Trust me, we have talked about Mickey Loomis
ad nauseum.
Please go back and listen to many of our episodes where we have raked him over the coals time and time again. We clearly know the problem is Mickey Loomis, and again, 5 head coaches told the Saints no in terms of not wanting to be their head coach largely because of Mickey Loomis. We're well aware of what the problem is. Louisiana said Luther Burton will be fired if we miss out on McMillan. I feel like Luther Burton is a better wide receiver prospect than McMillan anyway. Probably should have said that for the Prospect of the Week episode, but that's just my opinion. Uncle Dew said, heard he bringing in Dan Orlovsky.
Keep hearing that too.
As what? What?
I don't know.
What is?
I don't know. But I just keep saying that, hearing that floating around, and then Orlovsky, his contract is up or something. I don't know. No thanks.
Avery said. Avery said, "Do you think Jeff Ireland will have more pull in this draft than prior years?" I mean, Jeff Ireland has a lot of pull in most drafts. The only draft he didn't have a lot of pull in was 2023, which was the Brian Bresee, Isaiah. Like that draft was almost all exclusively Mickey Loomis, but more than anything else, he has a lot to say. The thing that keeps coming back to me is I keep asking is that how much voice is Kellen Moore gonna have in the draft? He's the X factor. He's the X factor I keep going back to. I'll give you a perfect example. And I've said this, but I'm not going to give too much of it away because you need to be either a Patreon or a YouTube member to access this. Please become Patreon, patreon.com, Saints Block Party. But let's just say like maybe the Saints, in terms of where they feel about Genty, maybe they don't feel like he's worth the pick at 9, right? If Kellen Moore comes in and feels like he should be the pick at 9, I'm just using this as an example. I don't know if Kellen Moore feels that way about him or not. I'm just using this as an example. Please take note of that. How much does that matter? Or another example, if Kellen Moore loves Jackson Dart at 9, just an example. Don't know if he does or not. Just an example. If he loves Jackson Dart at 9, and he feels like he is the guy to be his quarterback of the future, and the scouts and Jeff Ireland maybe sees Jackson Dart as more as a round 2 guy, who wins out? The new head coach or Jeff Ireland scouts? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think at the very least, Moore would have to sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like he would have to sell it to the executive staff, to Jeff Ireland and all that stuff. Like here's the reason why I'm seeing what y'all not seeing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I see this, that, the other, da 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 da.
Here's a big difference because when Sean Payton took Bo Nix last year at 10, I think it was, or whenever he took him, he had a mandate that he had to take a quarterback in the first round last year. So he had to take a quarterback regardless, period. So that's a huge difference. Like that was a mandate from ownership. James Smart with the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you. If they draft Genty, what's happening with Miller? Who cares? Kendrick Miller does not exist to me.
Not a factor.
Like, Nigga, you might as well have been asking him what's happening with Jordan Mims. Nigga, I don't know.
What Pierre Thomas at? What are you doing?
I saw like an Instagram post from Pierre like a couple of weeks ago. Man, Pierre looks fucking fantastic. Shout out to Pierre.
Still look good. Yeah, I've been seeing him, man.
Chris, appreciate you, man. Chris, who I think he gave us like our first $50 super chat, just gave us a $20 super chat. He's now on our Discord. Much love, Chris.
Much love, Chris. Thank you.
If Genty is going at 9, who do you want? I'm saying use Burton or Johnson. Are you asking? Is it Will Johnson? I just want to be clear in terms of like Will Johnson. Like what Johnson? There's
I don't know any other Johnson.
I'm assuming Will Johnson. I would say Johnson. I'm high. Like I feel like Will Johnson is one of the best prospects in this draft. So I would go Will Johnson over Burton pretty easily, even though the wide receiver depth in this draft is not very high. Greg Carter, we got to build in the trenches, even though it's not a sexy pick. I can see Genty, but if nobody blocking, then what? March for Arch.
With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. Underdog is the only picking platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. Every dog deserves a second chance, and with Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back and receive a promo if an early injury causes your entry to lose. With Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn them into dubs. I love Underdog Fantasy. This week, I'm looking at the Saints versus Tampa Bay Bucks and picking Foster Moreau for higher than 3 catches and Baker Mayfield for lower than 4 touchdowns. Underdog is the best place to play Pick'em. Download the app, sign up with promo code BLOCKPARTY, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code BLOCKPARTY to get $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Must be 18 years or older, 19 years or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 years or older in Colorado or for some games, 21 years older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado for some games. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 867369.
I put it like this. You got to, if you're going to do that, do it right. Now, look, defensive line is this is a good defensive line draft, is what I'm hearing. I haven't done a deep dive on all the defensive line prospects, but there's a lot of D linemen. I just have a feeling that this Super Bowl is going to make teams go D line and O line crazy, like in the first, second round. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of teams is going to try. You know how teams do? They try to emulate whatever.
They try to replicate, bro. Just like the Saints did with the Seahawks in the cover 3 with Stanley G. Baptiste, bro.
Remember when Patrick Mahomes just hit the scene? Everybody was trying to get, man, we need that second reaction.
Trey Lance, nigga.
Zach Wilson. Remember he had that? They kept showing that throw at his pro day, like, oh man, he just ran to the side and threw it 60 yards or whatever. Like, teams fall for this all the time. So I could see D-line and O-line going heavy in this first round. A lot of guys getting pushed up maybe. Did I lose connection?
No, you good. And okay, the combine is what, 2 weeks away. And here's the thing that these prospects are athletic freaks as is. Bro, I feel like some of them are gonna fucking put on shows in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Especially guys Mikael Williams, J-Line, and all them. Bro, they gonna show out, and that thirst is gonna skyrocket, bro. Skyrocket.
Our dude Jake said, "Are we going to the combine?" Still waiting to hear back. I should know this week. So it's funny because me and Jake, we kind of have it planned. I would go cover Tuesday and Wednesday, which are when the coaches do their podiums, and then he would cover Thursday and Friday for player interviews because he'll be in the area. Shout out to dude Jake for helping SBP if we're able to get combine credentials. Trying to get content for y'all. Let's see. Oh yeah, Abdul Carter's gonna absolutely wreck the fucking combine. Giovanni Martinez, we acknowledge we need help in the trenches. Which side of the lines do we go with pick 9?
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Save on your next oil change at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Choose Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil to provide maximum performance and protection for your engine. Get a $15 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge for $34.95. Plus 2 times O Rewards points. Offer valid in-store and online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That's a good question. I would need to. This is me saying this without watching him super in depth, but I would lean. It's crazy I'm about to say this. I would lean Will Campbell. I would lean Will Campbell. If that's oh my God, I would hate it so much, bro. To have pick 9 for us to be at the Saints block party draft party and like
Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU.
I will. If you go listen to our Prospect of the Week's episode, Patreon only, you have an idea at least what some of the Saints cloud is. I will say I'll leave it at that. The only I shouldn't say this. I'll give a hint and say the only edge, at least one of the edges that is in their cloud is nowhere, will not be in their range to draft at all. So I don't know if there's any other edges in their cloud. I'll leave it at that. If you want to find out more, come on Patreon, become a YouTube member. So I don't know. And I don't know how they feel about Will Campbell. I know that more than likely Will Campbell's going to check every fucking box when it comes to a athletic metric except for arm length for them.
Yeah.
He's going to blow it out the water because he's a freak of an athlete.
Yeah.
But can we? Okay, so let's. We got 77 concurrent viewers on right now. Let's talk about this tension that people have about the Kellen Moore thing in terms of if he's going to be the Saints head coach.
Run the ad first.
Oh yeah, let's get to our ad and then we'll come back, talk about is Kellen Moore going to actually become the Saints head coach, and we'll wrap up the episode and get y'all out of here. But appreciate y'all taking time listening to us on a Monday night. We'll be back after our break. We're back. Catching up on the chat real quick, then we'll get into the Kellen Moore thing. Oh, it's a really good question. We did not talk about it. I know y'all said previously how Carr is viewed, but I was just thinking about this particular instance over Super Bowl events. Yeah, I know we're going to get to it, but I saw Drew, Jameis, and Spence at the Super Bowl stuff, but no Carr. Maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but since Carr wasn't there, does this mean something?
I've been wondering that too.
How do I say this, man? You got paid. You got a 4-year contract, $150 million, to be the face of the franchise, to be the missing piece. That's why you were brought in. The Super Bowl is in your host city for your host football team. I don't give a flying fuck if you don't have a sponsorship deal or anything. It is an absolute terrible look on all accounts for you to not be seen at all. And people are like, oh, he doesn't want to be asked any tough questions. You're a fucking professional. You get asked tough questions all the time in press conferences. Your job is to be trained to answer tough questions that you maybe don't want to answer. Because guess what? You're getting paid $150 million to do your job. So I don't... Go ahead. Someone, Lewis in the chat said, I think it means Carr didn't feel like answering questions about coming back next year. It looks like he probably won't. Can't blame the guy. There's a very political PR way to answer questions about his future with the team. But you're telling me that the face of the franchise, the franchise quarter, you're telling me that he couldn't make one appearance all week? But his backup was a whole star. But okay, I might.
Spencer Rattler out there. Jameis Winston out there. Jameis Winston don't even got a team right now.
That's what I'm saying. I was talking about Jameis. I wasn't even talking about Spencer. I was talking about his backup last year, bro.
It's like, personally, I don't care. Like, I don't care that he wasn't there. Like, I mean, shit on me, but it's a bad look. And to me, it just also made me wonder if there's anything going on behind the scenes. Like, does he because he's a very sensitive motherfucker. So I just wonder, like, is he feeling a certain way about something? Like, there's his contract, is something going on with his contract or the questions about his contract? There's that whole thing at the end of the season where he's like, I'm not taking no pay cut and this and that. So it just made me wonder. And, it could be a point he didn't want to answer any questions about that, but it's the Radio Row, bro. They throw softball questions. What's your favorite color? And, talk about the city. Do you like New Orleans? What do you like about New Orleans? Talk about what's your favorite restaurant in New Orleans? And he can't even answer that, bro. Chipotle. I like to go to Chipotle when I'm here with my family. That's the type of shit he says. So I'm glad he wasn't here, bro. Like, the New Orleans did a absolutely phenomenal job for the week of the Super Bowl. My little city, I was just happy to see them, be on the map and represent on the world stage. Sorely needed like an economic boost. Yeah, needed the facelift, especially after the rough year, the start of the year and everything. And I just thought it just went beautifully. So Carter will be part of that. Yeah,
rough year, fucking February 10th,
bro. But if Carter won't be a part of that, fine. Like, please. Go away.
I think Dante said it perfectly. We never embraced him, and he feels it.
I think that's the fact. I think that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And he probably feel he's done enough. Like, look, if they don't love me right now, they don't love me now, fuck them. If he feel that way, fine. Fuck it.
Yeah. Simple as that, man. Like, it is as simple as that. Louisiana said, on a scale of 1 to 10, do y'all think he would be open to a trade? If so, how do y'all think we could pull it off? 1, I mean, yes, he would be open to a trade. In terms of on a scale, I don't know what scale I'd put it on. I think people have to realize, how to word this. Okay. I've said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again. Kind of because we're kind of getting to the Kellen Moore thing, but I don't want to go for like another 20 minutes. I'm going to try to truncate this. Kellen Moore, part of the interviews that he had with Mickey is that he pretty much told Mickey is that I'll be the head coach of the Saints, but one of his kind of non-negotiables is that he wanted to hear from Mickey Loomis is that he didn't want to feel like he was tied to Derek Carr as being his quarterback. He wanted some type of, I want to say reassurances or just some type of, listen, if I'm coming, I need to know that y'all are going to do something to get rid of him. Like this, I have no reason to make this up. I have no reason to lie about this. I don't have it in me. Now, what I feel like what the organization is doing right now is they're trying to weigh essentially how to navigate the bet that they have made. Okay. That contract that Dennis Allen kind of usurped everyone and went over everyone's back to give Carr that contract, and then they tinker with it has made it even worse, right? So their options really are cut Derek Carr, but then they have to then tinker with all the other bad contracts that they've given out. Teron, Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis, like all the other, agent bets and all the other contracts they've given out. And they could literally say, listen, they got to restructure everyone else to get rid of Derek Carr. Or I guess it's like, do we keep Carr? But I don't know how you keep Carr if that's one of the things that Kellen Moore said that it was important for him to come. I just don't know how you do it.
Right.
I feel like you got to figure it out, right? I feel like there's a way that you could maybe incentivize a team that maybe wants to trade for him. If you listen to Mike Garafolo on NFL Network, there are suitors for him. I don't know if that's actually true. If that's more like Derek Carr agent buzz. Because if that's the case, then why was the Saints the only suitor for him when the Raiders cut him?
Yeah.
But maybe you can incentivize a team with a draft pick and say, hey, I'll attach a fourth to the trade, a Carr and a fourth, if you'll help me eat this contract type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I feel like the team is trying to like go about it in terms of navigating, because they brought up like the contract. I think NFL Network's talking about like going to Derek Carr about like a pay cut. Again, it ain't to Kellen Moore. It's not about his contract,
right? It's like I'm not being tied to that, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
No. So to me, it's y'all made this bed, and if y'all are willing to go all in on Kellen Moore, then y'all got to give the man what he wants. If he don't want Derek Carr, then then that means y'all got to touch every old contract on the roster and cut Derek Carr and tinker with every old contract. It is what it is, y'all. It's the bet y'all made. Sorry.
Straight up.
And it kind of goes back to the point we were making earlier when we were doing this fucking offensive line, defensive line. If y'all were drafting players in the draft who were good and young, that would be cheap young contracts that you would have that would kind of soften the blow, even if you were but y'all don't even got that. You got Olave, you got Shaheed. Creep. Nigga, receive?
Really?
Nigga, is that it?
That's what I always say. Like, part of the good thing is
Fuaga.
One of the good things is we don't have a lot of players we got to pay.
No, not a goddamn soul to pay, Ryan.
One of the bad things is we don't have a lot of players we got to pay. I mean, we don't have any talent. So it's just that's the flip of it.
Regine said the Saints could do the same strategy the Broncos did when it comes to Carr. Tolerate him for a year and then get your guy next year like Sean Payton did. But Kellen Moore literally told them one of the conditions was that he didn't want Carr, so I don't know how the Saints could do that.
On top of that, here's the weird part with that logic, because once you tolerate him for another year, you're taking $40+ million, adding that cash on, so now you have to deal with almost the same situation next year, where you're trying to figure out, oh well, do we need to do a June 1st cut, and then we're gonna take this cap hit, and what are we gonna do about these restructures? You back in the same situation.
Situation.
Just one of those things where you're gonna have to take your medicine at some point, man. Like, you're gonna have to eat it at some point. And just take it. Just take it. This year's gonna suck. Here's what it is. You won't be able to go. You won't be able to do much.
Kind of like that bedroom talk.
You won't be able to do much in free agency this year. We get it, man. We get it. And I think Kellen Moore is smart enough to understand that this year is going to be, it's going to be a little tight. But you gotta open the bear. Don't let a progress stopper be in there. Whether that's rolling with Spencer Rattler, whether that's bringing in a cheap free agent, whether that's drafting a guy, whatever. But you gotta let him have his open thing to build what he wants. His vision.
We've
Carr
been
not his
asking
vision.
for 5 years, what's the vision? And you have a 36-year-old coach coming in that seemingly has a vision. You got to let him see his vision out. Maybe the vision doesn't work, but I know one thing. Just called a pretty fucking good game in the Super Bowl and called good games in the playoffs. And I made a social media clip because I called it early in the fucking season. I was like, man, this Joe Brady buzz don't make a lot of sense to me because like I feel like Kellen Moore should be getting the same type of buzz that Joe. Did I not call it? I called it, bro.
Called it, bro. Called it, man. Called it.
So
and look, Saints should be thankful right now. Like just to go through all what they went through, all the people to drop out and they end up with like a Kellen Moore, a young offensive mind.
Who is a Super Bowl winning OC, nigga?
Super Bowl winning OC. Like you, come on now.
Anyway,
come on now.
Anything to? I feel like I should have put. Bijan said also Prime Russ has a better resume. He was 2 years removed from a good season. Yes, like a much better resume.
No.
One thing. Anything. I feel like I don't want to just come out and say that the Kellen Moore thing is 100% going to happen because shit can change and blah 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 blah. But yesterday, literally was told by my friend that there's a high probability that Brandon Staley will be the defensive coordinator for the team. I know what it is. This is Saints PTSD. I know it because I'm a Saints fan. I've lived it for decades. I feel like now with everything that's come out recently with the Catholic Church scandal and all that, like my PTSD has been very numbed, and I'm just like, all right, bro, like it would be the most Saints shit ever if Kellen Moore just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stand. It makes no sense for him to do that at all. By the way, like people keep saying it makes literally no sense for him to do that because his pay is gonna be like tripled. But I would expect some type of official announcement to come out. Again, this is not me having an inside source with this knowledge. I would guess by Tuesday, Wednesday, in terms of official announcement. But also, like, if Brandon Staley, like, if my friend's telling me that Brandon Staley is more likely going to be his defensive coordinator, this really lets you know that it's been brewing. The owner of the Eagles, Jeff Lurie, literally.
Jeff Lurie. But a lot of fans got spooked with Nick Sirianni. Was like, man, let's run it back, Kellen. Let's run it back. But you know, that man just talking, bro, coked out. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it should help.
So coked, man. Nick Sirianni looked so coked out at the beginning of the game, bro. When they announced it, I was like, oh, the finest of cokes, bro.
The purest of cocaine. And look, it should make Saints fans feel good that you know Sirianni like, man, let's run it back, man. Like, you know, we get somebody that they like don't want to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Don't want to lose.
Somebody that just did good for them. You know, so now they got to go back and reshuffle the board, stuff like that on offense. So, he gonna be the head coach, man. You know, there's gonna be that worry, a little bit worried for a lot of Saints fans because, especially after this, you know, coaching cycle where so many people have pulled out. So I get it, but it's going to happen. Just be patient. He had to fly back to Philly. They got to iron out the final details on the contract. They're going to do it the right way. They're going to bring him in. They're going to have the big presser and all the proper circumstance and all that stuff. So they're going to roll it out the right way. Just be patient. It's coming. It's coming.
We'll do the official Kellen Moore as the Saints head coach episode, like emergency podcast. It will happen.
Emergency.
But anyway, we just wanted to do this, have a Super Bowl reaction episode, you know, hit on some Kellen Moore points, and you know, just get back out there. You know, it's officially the off season. It is 100% off season.
Who it is? Debo. Debo 49ers trade rumors, out there, which I wouldn't call them rumors. It's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the Jets quarterback.
Debo getting cut, bro. I would be shocked if Debo got traded.
Aaron Glenn said, Aaron Rodgers, out of here. Beat it, buddy.
A real nigga, bro. A real nigga, bro.
That's a real one right there. That's what I'm talking about, man. Get him out of here. Shit.
That also tells me, bro, if AG would have taken the Saints job, bro, Derek Carr would have been
gone, man. Gone.
So quick. But it is very telling to me as I wrap up this last point. Aaron Glenn, Kellen Moore, one of the first things that they both decided to do in taking jobs is say, I'm not being saddled with overpriced quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, get out of here. I don't want Derek Carr. I want whoever it is. I don't know who that guy is. Don't know who he is. But I just know one thing.
I'd rather door number 3.
It ain't going to be that guy. Jashawn said Cooper Kupp or Debo on the Saints. Who would y'all pick? Neither. But given that option, I'm trying to. So it's so weird because now you got to think of like Kellen Moore's offense, right? It's just different. It's different. I would go Cooper Kupp. I think Debo's body's broken down. He's not a good route runner. The things that made him special have essentially mostly all disintegrated, and he wants a new deal. One quick thing, and I'll save this. I'll go more in depth about it on the Kellen Moore emergency episode when it's official and everything. But I think an underrated thing that was not going to happen beforehand, but like players are gonna want to come and play for Kellen Moore, bro. Especially offensive players.
Oh, bro. Like I've been looking at interviews with like Rashid Shaheed and a lot of guys that's been getting interviews this Super Bowl week. They excited, bro. Like they can't say like he's gonna be the coach, so they kind of tiptoeing around it. But she like, man, I've been studying it all week, studying his offense, this and that. They excited, bro. The defensive players, they just kind of like, but who cares? Y'all have had a defensive coach for years now. Sit down.
Fuck that there. Sit down. see how far that fucking got you. Dante said Debo with Ochsner.
Straight to IR. Straight to IR, boy.
Good night. Anyway, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will be back this week to record the Kellen Moore emergency podcast episode. We'll go more in depth. I'll have the whole list. I made it last week or 2 weeks ago just to do Kellen Moore connections. But we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will be back later this week. And with that, we're out. And we're also recording our Prospect of the Week episode sometime this week. I believe Jackson Dart will be the next prospect talking about. Anyway, we will be back later this week. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. With that, we are out.
Peace.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.